analysts with me, and they are Potter and Blair.
I like I love it.
I'm working on my growl. I'm working on my growl. I need to. I managed to sort of pussycat my way into this, but I'm still not allowed to drink it. I got very intimate with with the label on this bottle earlier because I'm really looking forward to it. But apparently, still no champagne for me. The lid is safely on. Again, producer dagging me in my ear. No. Oh non. Parce que je suis en France. D'accord. So, French CS then. We had 3 fantastic teams joining us here at Tour. One of them came through the French qualifiers, that was Instinct. We also had French Frogs. We never got to see their logo, but hopefully it will come out soon because it's just, there are no words. And of course we had G2. The French scene is a very strong one. These French players, they like to play with each other. We've got some major winners in the French scene, quite a few in fact. And we have Vitality, of course, who aren't with us this weekend, but I believe we're going to see them at Dallas in a couple of weeks' time. Why is the French scene so unique, Blair?
The unique thing about a French scene is the fact that they have so many good players, so many talented players who just don't seem to want to play with one another, and I don't know why. I mean, just bury the hatchet and make these teams, right? That sucks, because you look at the scene, these are like some of the most tenured, some of the most decorated players and teams that we have in the scene, in CSGO as a whole. We have major champions, you know, we have Vitality right now, we have G2, and I would like to see them do better. I think Vitality are the one shining star for French CS, so to speak, especially because of that one prodigy that is Zayu, of course, right? But keeping that aside, it's like, I don't know why, you know, I think there was Apex who had, I think it was a Twitch clip where someone asked him, so do you want to still play, why don't you play with Shox, or do you still want to play with Shox? It was like, not really, I respect him as a player, but I don't want to play with him ever again. And that just goes to show, this thing goes deep, and that is just so unfortunate. Maybe because, frankly, they are very emotional people.
They are, but it's such a shame because Shox and Apex won a major together. And actually, MBK, Happy, and Kiyoshima are all players who have won 2 majors. And Kiyoshima really is the only player who's kind of ventured outside into the wider world. But he's just left Cloud9, and we don't know where he's going next, Potter. Do you think he's going to come back to France?
You know, probably not. I would assume, since his English is much better than most of the French players. But I want to speak a little bit about G2. Earlier in the tournament, we spoke about French Frogs potentially being the strongest French team, which was so weird saying it out loud when you're comparing French Frogs to G2. But I gotta say, I am definitely impressed with G2. Not so much with their results, but more so with their tenacity. I think that's something that we have questioned in the past is how far can G2 go? What kind of G2 is going to show up today? And although it wasn't their strongest form, they've got another tournament in a couple weeks, and they performed pretty admirably 2 weeks ago. So hopefully this trend continues to go upwards for them, and they perform in DreamHack Dallas.
Well, I can think of no players better to describe the French scene than the French players themselves, so let's take a look.
Mousesport, but I got to talk about Nexa. I think he's going to be a huge impact in coming into this series. We saw on that highlight reel Nexa getting a 3 or 4K on Vertigo, pushing through that smoke. These are the kind of intelligent, gimmicky plays that I think we're going to need to see coming out of Valiance's side, specifically on Nexa's part, because he thrives in that chaos. He thrives in those smokes, and he shows exactly why he's so impactful. It's such high CSIQ plays that he actually comes out on top of more often than not.
They were very reliant on Hunter last time we saw them play Mirage, and of course they have picked that map. 2.54 rating against Wendigo.
Yes.
Insane, but it did mean we didn't get to see the rest of the team really break through and perform on that map. Do you think it's going to be more of a team effort today?
It absolutely will be more of a team effort today. I think Hunter's not going to be able to bully Mousesport as much as he was versus Instinct on that Mirage. However, their approach to that connector side that allowed Hunter to look for those openings, to get those kills, it's still going to be there. Those opportunities are going to be there, but hopefully he shows a little bit of discipline and allows his teammates to actually capitalize on his advantages that he's getting for his team.
And Blair, these are technically the top seeded players in this tournament. Mouse actually kind of coming in through the lower bracket. They're the underdogs.
Yeah, they just lost the best of one. Big deal. Just a big deal. Honestly, look at the way they've played so far apart from that, right? And here's a cool thing. It's just the sheer variation in the approach to the different maps, and depending on opponents, it's going to be different style of Mousesports you're going to be seeing, depending on the map, depending on the opponent. Karrigan was secondary opping instead of Chris J. You have that option going for you, right? And even looking at these map picks coming in from Valiance, that Mirage pick is going to come and bite them in the butt. I'm saying it right now. Mouse are very scary at that map. And for Valiance, they really didn't face any pressure from Wendigo, so I'm a little worried for them. And looking at these players here, Frozen, he seems to be kind of getting into his groove in this tournament so far. He's been allowed a lot of freedom by Karrigan to go in for the entries, and he goes in. He reminds me of someone like vintage Apex, just holding W, running in, getting the kill, but not overextending. He gathers information, he falls on back, he gets his double kills and whatnot. We have Mr. Karrigan himself, of course. He has definitely made up since that... I wouldn't really blame him for it, but getting CSGO to day one, that's been a crazy turnaround for him. We haven't really seen Woxic really wake up apart from the first map on Inferno where he got like, what, 20 kills on the T side. If he decides to finally wake up today, it's going to be rough, because look at these maps. Train, Mirage, those are maps that he can just go ham on, he can just go ape. And of course, Chris J as well. He really hasn't had to do much, to be honest, and he was one of the star players in that lineup, right? Just man for man, like just looking at firepower-wise, Mousesports are the better team here.
For sure, and speaking a little bit more about, let's do the head-to-head first really quickly. Both the in-game leaders for these respective squads. Nexa on the Valiant side of things, I spoke a little bit about him earlier. He's absolutely going to have the impact that he's shown his team throughout this tournament, and it has to show up here in the grand finals. And we've got Karrigan giving us the death stare. Let's see if the cameraman actually loses this time. Okay, well, the production lost it. We switched the screen, but yeah, and Karrigan, he's still going to have to rally up his teammates. You know, Karrigan on that Mousesport side of things, what they've been doing a little bit differently here today, which I think is so impressive, is Karrigan, Woxic, and Frozen. These three have been sticking together. They've been going into the extremities of the map and the middle of the map and trying to draw out all the attention. And Robson, you said Chris J has been a little bit more quiet today, but they're in those impact lurk roles. They're in those roles that the insurance plan, the backup plan, the roles that allow the team to go to the other side of the sites.
So do we think that Frozen then on Mirage is going to be the player that everyone in Valiance needs to watch out for, Blair?
I think it's actually going to be Mr. Woxic and Chris J. One thing I watch all the time with these two guys are how they keep moving around with the AWP or the AUG. It's always like the aggression comes up from these two main players, while Robs is going to be holding down the B bomb side. I think for Valiance, especially on Train, what they need to watch out for is that B bomb side. That is a side where you can potentially get more rounds.
So, predictions. Dagny, our producer, has decided that you're saying Mousesports, Blair. Correct her if she's wrong.
She's right. She's a smart lady.
She's right. Well, she's a very smart lady. Thank you for hiring us all. Now, Potter, what are you saying?
I've got to go with Mousesport as well. You know, I think Valiance has a shot. They definitely have a chance, specifically if they can take it to the third map. But Mousesport looked so strong today.
I'm definitely going to say Mouse as well. I think that map veto is firmly in their favor. But what did Twitch chat think? Can't believe I'm asking Twitch chat for their opinion, their knowledge, their insight and advice.
Twitch chat are pretty intelligent.
Yeah. Some of them. Some of them incredibly intelligent. Look, Twitch unity, all right?
Some of them,
I love you guys. I love you guys.
Oh, those are...
84%.
Pretty biased, but...
That's incredible.
I will agree with them, because Mouse, look, great journey by Valiance so far, right? They have reached the finals, defeating one of the favorites as well. But coming down to this, I think this could be the end of the line for them.
I can't wait to see what happens. We need to head over to our casters. Vince and Dust, finally out of bed, gentlemen, in time for the grand final and scrubbing up very well, if I do say so.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, Frankie. It's always nice to get a compliment.
Well, we appreciate you. So go ahead, enjoy this one. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, it is time for the grand final of DreamHack Open Tours France.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Yes. I think many of the crowd were hoping for G2, but Valiance did sneak just underneath them to secure their spot in the finals. Now, Mouse, who have consistently looked like the best team here at Tour, I feel like they're the heavy favorites, Dust, especially with those maps.
Yeah, they are, but there is some history there. Valiance did destroy them on Dust 2 earlier in this tournament, which forced, Mousesport have to play some extra games to find themselves in the finals. And, obviously it's a much different lineup, but remember, Chris J and Rops were suffering at the hands of Valiance at the European minor for IM Katowice. That's how they got denied the major, and that very much was the catalyst that led to all these roster changes on Mousesport. So I feel like there's something a little bit extra from Chris J and Rops wanting to give it to Valiance. And I know also from speaking to Mousesports, they struggle to play against Valiance's style because they are very unpredictable and very wild. And they are a team that likes to do their homework, and it's hard for them to get reads on Valiance at times. But they're on Train, a map they are currently undefeated on and look very, very dangerous on. They're going to be kicking things off on the T side right away here in this pistol.
Played 7 times with 7 victories to their name on their choice. Starting on the T side of things, Karrigan's also getting tagged out, but all the kills are going the way of Mousesports. Rops with 3 with the Glock, leaving Nesta all alone. He's going to pick up 2 in return, but the bomb's been dropped, and Mousesports will pick up round number 1.
Yeah, really well done there. Rops now is number 3 in rating at the tournament and number 1 in kill assist percentage, but he didn't need to do any assists there, just mopping things up on his own, getting assertive with that Glock and delivering fantastically. That's exactly what you want to do on your Mousesports, is really setting the tempo on your map pick. Again, they are undefeated on LAN 6-0. They've beaten some of the other top 20 teams in the world leading into this, and while Valiance have looked pretty decent on this map at times, Mousesports certainly are the favorite coming in. That's a great way to lead by example with Rops.
So here we go, Letney watching on the Pop Dog. It is a full investment round for Valiance. Not leaving much in the bank if things go awry here. Mousesports, on the other hand, are taking it slowly, trying to dwindle away as many of those grenades as possible. And here comes the play. Nades raining in with smokes and flashbangs. Mousesports not taking any time. Going to be getting up close and personal. Bomb plant's going to be put down as well. So, Valiance, in terms of having no kits and only a smoke remaining, this is asking so much from them. They're also hemorrhaging players left and right. Chris J and Frozen both chip in with kills. Otto's fallen down as well. And this force buy is going to yield very little in retaliation from Valiance. They're on the back foot already.
Yeah, another clean sweep for Mousesports, pretty much outside of Karrigan going down. You need to keep your eyes on that strat. Mousesports is going to run that a lot on gun rounds as well. They really favor throwing those deeper smokes on Inner and pushing close to Z, pushing close to CT spawn, not allowing Valiance any room to retake, really trying to just close in the walls and suffocate them. So be on the lookout for that time and time again. This is probably one of the best T sides that Mousesports has in their map pool right now is Train. They are very, very good at doing different set pieces on each site. They're very deep. And so, again, it's going to be an uphill battle here for Valiant. I think, in particular, what I'm going to be a little bit concerned with is going to be Esperanto. He is kind of one of the guys that does a lot of work for them usually, but he's had an off tournament so far. Luckily, Letney's been playing out of his skin so far this event, one of the best rated players in the tournament, which is not something you'd expect to think of happening. But he's definitely done his job, and obviously in this round we can't expect much, just basic pistols here for Valiant. Play though from Hunter, picks up Karrigan. He'll collect the Mat 10 off of it. So at least doing a little bit of something here, but now the main charge comes into Inner. Only one CT standing to defend. He's been dealt with quite efficiently.
With his death, the B site will open for business. Bomb gets planted. Valiance have a few players with no investment and no reason to save. You'd expect them to set up for some exit frags. Especially as one of those Mat 10s has been taken away, so I don't have to worry about the farming to come into effect. Esperanto connects on to Voxic. Yeah, I'm going to make this one costly. Going to sting a little bit, but Esperanto's now found his fate, courtesy of Rops' AK-47. In terms of the round, it is over. Mousesports are going to have a pretty swift 3-0 lead in the grand finals.
Yeah, once they weather the storm of that force by threat, this is just kind of a mop-up. There's a lot of damage being done, though, so a good amount of rebind that Mousesport are going to have to do, actually. So that will hurt their economy just a small amount long-term. But all in all, a 3-0 starts where they want to be. Now as we're here, the full gun rounds are going to start coming out. This is where you want to see what Auto can do with the WP. Is going to be so important on trying to defend Esperanto again, a guy who's had some struggles this event is going to be called upon. And then Voxic, you expect he's going to be a highlight player here with his AWP. Again, Mousesport has such a deep playbook on this map. You never really know what to expect. They have great set pieces for each site. They vary their smoke walls nicely. They're very hard to read. They also have some great front runners like Frozen and Kerrigan to create openings. Same with Chris J. He does some entry work on this map as well. But right now they're just doing a really big gather over towards Inner, and they have Voxic with an AWP solo Ivy. This is definitely a little bit different. You'd expect him to maybe be posted up with this team or at TCon. So the lurking op is going to be in effect here.
We have seen the lurk ops come into play quite a few times over the duration of this tournament. Dropping down onto the B site, but Otto is going to need to stand tall for his team, wait for the rest of them to arrive. Bomb's been planted, but it's a 2-on-4 in favor of Valiance. There's a few nades to play with, 2 incendiaries now picked up. And Voxic going to have to come down through the ramp. There's one. Does have a Molotov for the potential defuse, but I believe there's a couple of smokes in play as well. And Hunter has one of them, so it's going to render this Molotov forfeit, and it's not required anyway. Otto connects onto Voxic, and Valiance will finally get themselves around.
Yeah, the attempted set piece there from Mousesports on Inner looked good at first, but Otto's rotation with the AWP, there wasn't really any smokes in his face. He kind of had some free reign on crossing players towards those front-facing trains. So one round finally does go the way of Valiance. Good to see them get on the board early. Double op already going to be in effect with Esperanto and Auto. No AWP this time, but some SIGs on Chris J and Kerrigan. There's some of the few players that really love using the SIG on T-side, kind of like Elysian Nap on Team Liquid. They're early adopters, you could say. Rox, meanwhile, has spotted a little bit more than he wanted on that little jump-up ladder, but still fine. So pretty default, but Mousesports are definitely setting up for an outer attack. You can see the smokes being lined up now, but Let Me up close could disturb things, but not if Frozen can get the better of him first.
A site now starting to crumble for Valiance. They need someone to start to build it back up brick by brick, and Hunter may be the man for the job. Next up, perched up on Connector. Not required just yet, but now the smoke is going to clear. The bomb has been dropped out into the open in a really awkward spot for Mousesport. The Rops not able to do anything in a 1-on-3. Valiance will double up their round tally.
Yeah, again, another one of those set pieces from Mousesports they like to use. This time it was towards outer. They had that basic smoke wall on the train. They actually had a good entry on the way. Frozen taking out Let Me up close, gave them that space to start swarming, but the reactions from Valiance were so on point. They really mopped up once that initial push came through, and now Mousesports are going to have to take a save. This gives Valiance a chance to tie things up right away at 3-all. Triple Ivy opening from Mousesports, another one of their favorite things to do. Unfortunately, they don't really have anything to put to use with it. Just some pistols, no utility to smoke their way out, no real flashes to pop through. It's going to be difficult to get much here.
This is pretty much as bare as it gets for terrorists. That grenade a little bit too deep to chunk any of these. 3 terrorists are waiting outside with the bomb. Let Me elsewhere. MP9 gets the better of Rops, and there's an AWP frag in the mix too. I mean, as you anticipate, Mousesport's not really getting anything. No success.
Not with just Glocks and 250s. Now a pop flash SMG farming some extra cash. Esperanto, the Guardian Angel, making sure Letney didn't get cleaned up, so he gets 2 kills with that MP9, so that's nice. Printing a little bit of money, which will go to great use later on. Mousesport should be back on to the buy, though. I'm curious what they want to do next. Do they want to go triple Ivy again, this time with an AWP on Voxic and actually some utility? Do they want to go for one of their other set pieces again? Many options to choose from. So far, Valiance has responded really well, and they've been able to keep this double AWP setup going. It is going to be that triple Ivy opening again. This time, they do have a scoped weapon going towards Ivy. It's not the AWP, but still a SIG. Still can be quite deadly at range. Again, Valiant's focusing on playing forward, which is great because Frozen likes to come out of TCon, these triple Ivy setups, but Letney's going to deny that space for free at the very least.
recognize it for the time being, but now the Molotov going to start to clear. There is a smoke planted down elsewhere. Valiance getting the advantages under their belt. The bomb's been dropped by Otto. Back at CT, and he's going to double up. Very nicely done. He had a sterling performance against Mousesport earlier in this very tournament on Dust 2. And he's looking to pick up from where he left off. Frozen and Rops. Huge task ahead of them. Has started decently, but Frozen does get dinked down to just 3.
Good kill, but it came at a humongous cost, and that bomb is down in such dangerous territory. Trying to break through is going to take a Herculean effort. Rops could be up to the task. He and Frozen have individually been doing pretty well so far this map. They're some of the biggest stats leaders in this tournament. Let's see what they're made of here. They're still very much split up. Rops trying to do a little bit of a sneak through inner. Thinks better of it, though. Begins to back off, just wants to get with his teammate, and they might even just kind of sit back and keep these guns now that they haven't been able to find any opportunities across the map. Valiance didn't show them much of anything.
Yeah, well played by Valiance to dig in once the bomb was dropped. And as you say, saving these AKs, there's really not much money on the horizon. Will give them a bit of firepower to play with. Their round losses starting to build up. This will now be 4 rounds in a row. So 3 of the players around $3,000. Frozen and Rops, of course, have barely anything to their name as a result of saving.
You're seeing good fragging across the board from Valiance. Letney and Hunter amongst the top 5 players in this tournament so far. Next are not too far away at number 6, and so far they're up to the task here on Train as well. Mousesport, just those 2 AKs on Rops and Frozen. Rops going to be using an AK usually to work those inner halls. This is probably one of those rounds where you want to let him just kind of play off of timing. You don't want to risk throwing an AK forward against a bunch of utility or a CT holding a close angle. You want to give one of your players who have great intuition, great timing. Rops trying to slide down the ladder, does spot something, doesn't commit right away. Letney, too much of a threat. So it'll just be a bit of a standstill now. There's really no smokes to go for a smoke water except for Frozen's single, which he might use to block off Ivy or E-Box to try to get a little bit of space. It's going to be tough pick, and it's going to rely on just incredible aim at this point and brute force to break out.
With this 4-1 formation next up, he needs to make sure he doesn't overstep the mark. It's why he's jiggle peeking, just to make sure he doesn't throw his Molotov or his smoke too early. Rops lurking around the shadows of Pop Dog. It's pretty split and pick, though, for Mousesport. That bulk of the terrorists are posturing for a potential A execute.
Yeah, that's what it's going to look like here. Rops is probably starting to look like he wants to commit ladder, but this utility from Valiance has been so well layered. Every time Mouse wants to push, there's a smoke in their face or fire. It's forcing them to have to really stall out. Now Esperanza's already drawn one. Letney and Hunter pitch in with the Augs, and they've been mopped up across the board. It's just Kerrigan with the Deagle.
Down to 4. Hunter will fall, but Kerrigan can't connect enough to take him out right around. So how things have changed. It was looking like a pretty rampant start from Mousesport, but now Valiance have stabilized and they're applying the pressure.
Yeah, it's tough for Mousesport because coming into this game, Chris J was number 5 and Woxic was number 2 in opening success duels. But they're not finding anything. Plus, you're used to seeing Kerrigan have a good time as an entry. Frozen known for his aggression. So you have so many heavy hitters on this team that can create openings, but they're not finding any right now so far in this game. Granted, they've only really had just a couple of full gun rounds. But it's getting to a point now where they need to see their rifles work. I mean, the thing is, there have been times where Mousesports have struggled getting their T-sides rolling, but Train, alongside Inferno, and what we saw yesterday on Nuke, have been some of the maps where they have had a little bit more success on that T side. Certainly it hurts that Kerrigan is still at 0 right now. Again, normally one of the guys that's the front runner to help set up Frozen and some of the other players. He's not been able to find those first kills. But we're back to a fully utilized Mousesport, save for some utility, but Woxic does have the AWP again. This time it'll be Chris J soloing towards Ivy.
That's some pretty sick plays with the SG over the duration of this tournament.
No, absolutely.
Does like to prioritize it over the AK-47. One of the few players that does. Of course, the AUG is just a part of the meta at this point in time. Rest of his team going to be coming down. Speaking of the man, he has been picked off on Ivy as he tries to retreat back to T-spawn. And with that movement, it does give Valiance quite a bit of information. It's why they've brought over a third player and they feel content to keep him here. Now the rest of the team's going to be filtering in. There's also another one in the form of Letney that is rotating around the back of them. Is he going to be required though? Because Nexa, alongside Esperanto, lock B completely down. And that timeout yields absolutely nothing for Mousesport.
Yeah, Chris Shea just getting so unfortunate. Normally their Ivy player on default, he was looking just to make sure they weren't pressing Ivy, and he wanted to gather up for his team to go inner, but he gets caught by a really late push from Hunter. Very uncharacteristic to see that. You can't anticipate that type of play, and it cost a lot because, you know, he wasn't there to help reinforce the attack. And also Mousesport did not have that much utility in that round. They had a couple of smokes to throw deep to kind of get some space, but still there was a lot of gaps that Valiance could poke and prod through, and they netted them a great result. They're now up 6-3. That's 6 in a row, I believe. And it's looking like 7's right on the horizon as, again, Mousesports are left with little to work with, just a few Deagles. Voxic already off the board. They do have a little bit of presence outer, but they're struggling to find movement forward. Keep getting cut off.
Otto's doing a phenomenal job of just holding down. Bunch of whiff bullets from Mousesports is definitely going to help. Now Rops and Chris J, just over 50 health between the pair of them, are up against Nexa and Hunter, who are very healthy indeed. However, it's one of the best chances Mousesports have had in recent memory on the back of one of their worst buys. Ooh, how is Nexa not dead if that Deagle landed on his face? 1 HP left, that's so unfortunate. And now Rops, not only 2 players stacked against him, but the bomb's also dropped in a horrible spot for him. The only thing working for him here, Dusty's got 45 seconds to play with, and it's just got a little bit more doable. Nexa, culled by Rops's Org, now trained down towards Ivy's side. Hunter, gonna bide his time, not show his hand too quickly, but now he's shown it just in the perfect moment as Rops was in transition. Valiance pull ahead to a 7-3 lead.
Yeah, good job by Hunter closing that out. He's #1 in damage per round for this tournament, #2 in kills per round. He's been one of the big stars for this team for so long, has that Kovac blood in him. Of course, the cousin of Nico over at FaZe, one of the most famed players we have right now in Counter-Strike, and Hunter's really starting to step up to an incredible level in his own right. So well done, but now Mousesports finally do have some utility to put to use. They're going to go for that triple Ivy opening again. They do favor this in some of the other train matches I've watched, so I'm not too surprised. I think the big problem is they aren't getting that opening from Voxic's AWP. They aren't able to get Rops into ladder. Frozen has been limited on being able to create space from T-Connector. So they need to be able to find that one opening. Bounce has done a great job kind of doing aggression, but at weird timings, but also holding back when they need to. Letney has been playing a fantastic tournament, been playing well above what you normally expect. He's done a great job playing up close on T, kind of denying some of that space I was talking about that's not allowing Frozen to really have impact.
And so far here on Train, they've been doing a very good job of just counteracting Mousesports after that great start that we witnessed after the pistol.
I feel like the double AWP has just been there every single round for Valiance as well. They've never lacked for it, and Mousesports is having a hard time finding their way around it. I think the added utility could help out a set piece on Inner this time. Maybe those deep smokes on top of some good Molotovs might be able to get them a little bit more forward presence on Inner so they can feel more comfortable planning and pushing deeper, denying space for Valiance's retake. But Otto and company have done a great job rotating to Inner and denying these plants. And it could happen again. Chris Shea's trying to lurk outer, but it seems like the focus is going to be Inner, though they could slide down ladder. It's not necessarily guaranteed they will take Inner. I think it depends on what Chris Shea discovers here.
He can take some players with him, all the better for it. He's gone down. He has got 2 players over on A. Now Frozen's going to barrel out of Pop Dog. They've decided against the B hit. So far, so good. 3-on-2 in their favor. And the remaining Valiance players are still locked on B with the smoke in their eyes on Connector. Have to come through here. Smoke is now dissipated. Carrigan's still yet to get off the mark. It could be a big time for him to connect some headshots for his confidence and for his team. We'll put an end to this 7-round win streak. Voxic on the cross, nice shot onto Nexa mid-air. Otto can do very little, but slowly back away and try and save this AWP. So Mousesports have broken the win streak.
Yeah, good little reaction there from Mousesports. Despite the fact that Chris J went down, they were in a 4-on-5. They were able to get out ladder so quickly. Frozen with a couple of great entries. Even with Letney playing up close on T-Con, which could have been so dangerous. They literally him just the 1 frag. That's so massive. Letney could have easily just teed off and sprayed down 2 or 3 from that position. So I really want to tip my hat to Frozen there. He really got involved, did great. Also good to see Voxic get a couple of op shots. You want him to start getting settled in here soon. I like the call here from Valiance. They finally are starting to get around. We need to go ahead and slow them down right away. Start thinking things through. Kind of keep everyone level-headed. That's one of the big things that Valiance is kind of struggling with, is they don't really have a true in-game leader. Hunter was doing it at Rio. Now they have Nexa doing it. Apparently he's trying to commit to it long-term, but I feel like it's more of democratic rule when it comes over there. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, you have Kerrigan, a legendary in-game leader who's done wonders with Mousesport so far, and Chris J, definitely capable of pitching in mid-round calls. They have a great coach as well behind them who does a lot of research for them, so they do have that leadership structure. But hopefully Emmy, during that timeout, is able to kind of, keep Valiance on point, because right now they're doing just fine.
It's a solid call to call a timeout. If they've got a great half already, could get a whole lot better. Let's not let this get out of control. Voxic gets there just a step ahead of Esperanto, and we'll trip him over. And they just get the pick, and they pull away, and they keep Valiance guessing.
Yeah, outside of the set pieces, triple Obby is probably their favorite thing to do. They don't actually default the whole hell of a lot on Mousesports, and they're finally starting to find those openings at Obby, not just positioning there, but actually getting picks. Unfortunately for them, Auto, opposite side of the map, is able to pick up on Rops, the normal interplayer for Mousesports. That's kind of denied that route for now. Mousesports are just still stuck at outside T connector. They do have plenty of smokes to go for their smoke wall, and a few mollies they can throw deep towards Camera and Z to try to get them into outer. Frozen does have ladder room control. He's been smoked off, but once they wait that out, they can start attacking, and here actually comes the push right now.
Otto on the back of the site, gonna go for a peek and hope for the best. Voxic has got his second kill of the round, not far off with the no-scope, but Hunter, I was gonna say, if he can maybe turn the tides of this round, that him and Nexa could make something special happen. Mousesports are having none of it.
Yeah, Kerrigan finally gets on the board. Those are some big boy entries from him, just tearing it up through outer. I think what was big was Frozen was able to get ladder really, really early. That gave them a little bit more breathing room. Again, they had enough utility to block off some of the common angles, and they already had somewhat of an advantage thanks to that pick from Voxic in the early round. Also, again, starting to slow down Letney up close on T-Con. So they're beginning to start finding those opportunities they need to pose a threat to Valiance, who have so far played a great CT side. Look at Chris J! That was an amazing little move over the fire. What a headshot! He's not done yet. That's Hunter gone. And they're steamrolling in.
That first one tap was disgusting. Esperanto, though, going to steady the nerves, steady the round, put it back onto the right course. So much action in the first few moments that Nex has been able to pull into Pop Dog and make that rotation sing for Valiance. Frozen, though, is going to bring it back into the realms of possibility. Letney is low. Kerrigan making a move around, going to come head-to-head with Nexa, who is running around and stomping. Could be heard from miles away. And Letney in a measly 34 HP is all that separates Mousesports. And bringing this back to a one-round deficit. Ooh. He's landed the first headshot, though, but it is information now gathered for Kerrigan. He's been definitely picking it up over these last couple of rounds after a 0-9 start. He's got 4 kills. A flashbang to his name, but also Letney. Could just come down to the timing. Letney taking a brisk walk down the right side of the site, and Kerrigan, he's a step ahead. He's read the script. He knows exactly what's coming up. If he just turns to his left, he's going to have the headshot. And Mousesports do take it to a 7-6. That was so incredibly close.
Yeah, it was definitely chaotic. I thought that was going to be a clean sweep. Chris J hit that magical timing where an Incendiary comes in, but you do have that beat of a step on it where you can jump past it. And he was able to get out in the open, hit some incredible headshots. And at this point, it's 5-on-3. I feel like you should just mop this up, but a lot of chaos breaks out across the map. That puts Kerrigan in a 1v1. But these last 2 rounds, Kerrigan's finally got himself on the board. He was 0-7. He's now 5-9, so he's starting to feel that entry power a little bit. Now they have Valiance's economy on the ropes. They have to take a save this round. This is where Mousesports can start really closing that gap. They're about to tie this game up, most likely. We got a game on our hands at this point.
There's no doubting that whatsoever. Really on a razor's edge. You expect Mousesports to take this round pretty convincingly up against the lack of investment Letney has. Put down a second player, though. In terms of manpower, it's equal. Firepower, anything but. Otto, from above, will strike onto Frozen. Rops can hear the footsteps up the ladder and spins around for a second. So all even. The question now is who will lead at half-time?
It's going to be the closest half possible, 8-7, but who's going to have that slight edge going to Pistol second half? That's what we're going to decide here and now. It's been a bit of a back and forth. Mousesport had the 3-0 lead, a massive winning streak from Valiance, but they've been silenced the last 3 in a row. 4 in a row, actually. Toxic looking to get out here fast with the AWP. Doesn't spot anything just yet, but he's got a good angle. CTs are trying to press the E-box side, but he'll slowly creep out. It's on a razor's edge. Who's actually going to get it? But this inner push has been fruitful for Valiance. It's been traded back, though.
Two of the star players for Mousesport have begun to shine. Pulling just outside of the clouds that were looming overhead for a while here on Train. Hunter spoilt for choice with 2 players peeking him, but it's going to be Frozen again, the youngster. Turning some heads. Otto and Esperanto going to fight until the bitter end of this half. No kits available, both with a smoke. AK and AWP to their hand, but Voxic is making a rotation. Chris J, as ever, with the SG, primed, positioned, ready to strike. He's going to be given the call to do just that momentarily because Valiance now starting to make a move. Both sides of the bomb. The first shot does connect, but not enough to kill Chris J. There's a team kill in there, but they're not going to care because Frozen doubles up and Mousesports will have the lead at halftime, 8-7.
Indeed they will. You couldn't ask for a better way to kick off the grand finals. A close first half, as good as it gets. But stay tuned, we'll be right back
Sri Baginda Raja, kami persembahkan gaya busana lebaran terbaru dengan gaya yang elegan dengan detail, dengan warna yang menawan. Lihat!
Aku sudah bosan dengan baju lebaran yang itu aja. Sial! Aku mau baju yang keren.
Keren, Pap. Keren.
Keren. Yang benar keren. Dan kita baru saja menerima sinyal dari bumi.
Ku panjatkan doa, ku lakukan usaha, arus semesta raya.
Belanja di Ramayana, 80% diskonnya terkeren sealam semesta.
Kata orang, aku nggak bakalan